Good day, poets! Are you ready to learn? Alright, I am your teacher for today. I am Evangeline Archaga, and you may call me Miss Evan. Okay, is that clear? Thank you. Now, before we start, let us have our prayer. So, Miss Giselle, please lead the prayer. Amen. Thank you. Now, for our classroom rules. First one is to engage actively. Second is never disrespect. Third, just follow directions, observe discipline, and yield positive behavior. In short, enjoy our class for today. The next one is, now let's have our attendance. For our attendance, when I call your name, you say present, and then you will cite one unique characteristic of your community. For example, me, I am Evangeline, and one characteristic of our community is the bamboo garden. Okay, is my instruction clear? Thank you. Okay, I'm so glad that every one of you is here today. Now, for our review, I have a question. Okay. Miss Sophie, what was the discussion last session? Very good, that is right. Now, I have here a picture. What's behind the story? So look at this picture. What do you observe? Okay, look at this picture. I will give you 1 minute and then I have some questions. Are you done looking at the picture, everyone? Very good. Now, here are my questions. Number one, what do you observe in the photo? Any volunteers on who wants to answer? Yes, Angelica? That's right. Thank you. Now for the next question. What does this tell us about the people in the photo? The picture. What does this tell us about the people here in the photo? Yes, Miss Rio? Yes, that is right. Thank you for your answer. Now, for the third question. Do you think that the person's attitude is influenced by culture, history, or environment? And why is that? Yes, Mr. Josh, yes. Your answer is yes. So why? Why do you think so? Wow, that is a great insight. For the last question, do you have similar experiences in your community? Kindly share. Now, who wants to share their experience? Yes, Sir Angelo. Very good. Thank you for sharing. Now, I have here a, an excerpt of a poem. Please read, everyone. Thank you. Now, from what you have read, I have questions. From what you have read, what do you think is the theme of this poem? Yes? Anyone who wants to answer? I will call names. Yes, Miss Marveline. Yes, very good. Now, from our activity previously and this activity, what do you think is going to be our topic for today? Hmm? Does anyone have a clue? No one? Okay, let's proceed to our objectives. Now, for our lesson objectives, at the end of the lesson, the learners will be able to, everyone, read A, B, C. Okay, now for our topic for today is the influence of culture, history, environment, or other cultures in a literary selection. That is our topic in the fourth quarter, week 8. So, based on our title, do you have any clue or do you have any ideas on what will be what will be discussed in today's session? Yes, Mr. Kim. Yes. Okay, very good. That's correct, no? Because our first is the selection. It is this it is defined as a passage excerpted or selected from a longer text. Reading selection can be influenced by culture, history, environment, and many other factors. Culture, on the other hand, is the characteristic features of everyday existence. Everyone has cultures, and it has diversions or a way of life shared by people in a same community, in a same country, or a society. So culture influences a selection through religious ideas, moral values, gender norms, or just to name a few potential variables. Next one is history. History plays a fundamental role in shaping literature. Every novel, play, or poem one reads is influenced by political or historical context in which it is written. Example of this is the stories of Jose Rizal. It is very historical. Do you have any idea, or do you know any examples of Jose Rizal's works that is highly historical? Very good. Now, before we proceed to our next slide, what is selection? What is selection? Yes. Miss Sophie. Very good. That is correct. Now, to proceed, environment is the circumstances, objects, or conditions by which one is surrounded. So, for example, here in the Philippines, our environment is warm, sunny, right? There is no winter here. So, authors here in the Philippines often characterizes their selection or their literary arts into the same environment here in the Philippines. Next one is heritage. It is a legacy from the ancestors which does not only affect the present but is also has a big impact in the future. So for example, our heritage here in the Philippines is the Banawe rice terraces. As you can see, it has impact in the old times and here in our times also. Next one is the natural heritage. Refers to the diverse geological structures and formations. Heritage is that which is inherited from past generations, maintained in the present, and bestowed to the future generations. The term national heritage is derived from natural inheritance. For example, is monuments, um, statues, anything that is maintained and passed down from generations to generations. Okay, does anyone have a question so far? No? Okay, I will question you. Now, my question is, what was the factors that I discussed earlier? Yes, Mr. Josh. Yes, okay. Very good. That is correct. Now, I am going to present you examples of the text that can relate to these factors in order for you to really understand how do these factors influence literary selections. First one is culture. So here in the literary selection, it is the ambahan or mangyan poetry. It is an example of cultural factor because the poem's theme of way of expressing wisdom reflects heavily on the community's culture. As you can see, it is mangyanon, right? So it reflects the traditions and beliefs of the Mangyan people. Next one is the, as I said earlier, the work of Jose Rizal. As you can see, it is very historical because it refers to the past events or social context that influence the story or the poem. So Jose Rizal's poem that he had written before his execution, which is entitled Mi Ultimo Adios. So it expresses the love for his country despite the Spanish colonization. He still loves his country, so that is why it is historical, because it informs the themes and emotions of the historical context at the time. Next one is the environmental factor. Here in the example, it is titled A Narrative of the War by Rick Bastasa. So in this time where he wrote the poem, the his environment at that time was wartime hospital setting. So many wounded soldiers and scenes of suffering surrounds him. So this reflects the impact of the conflict of his poem. So the vivid imagery of injuries and recovery shows how the environment of war influences the poem's subject and mood. Here in this example, the environment is very sad and disheartening. Yes, that's right. Now here, in the Filipino heritage is that shows the highlights and richness of Filipino culture and natural beauty of the Philippines. Example of this poem is Filipino Heritage attributed to Francisco Balagtas. It mentions mountains, shores, and traditional stories, showing how the country's cultural and natural heritage shapes the ideas expressed in the poem. As you can see in this poem, it is highly based on the heritage on the Philippines. Right now, for the next one, oh my God. So, that is it for my discussion. Do you have any questions? Or did I talk too fast? Clarifications, violent reactions? Anyone? Yes, Miss Angelica. So, here in the environment, it differs from one person to another or one author to another. For example, my example earlier is that the environment here is in the Philippines is very warm, sunny, that it is very happy. Now, here in this example, it is sad and disheartening. So it depends on the author itself. Yes. Any questions, clarifications before we proceed? I have a question. What were the discussed factors that can affect literary selection? Mr. Kent, yes? What were the literary factors that affect literary selection? Yes, very good. Thank you. That is correct. Now, let us breathe and then we can proceed. Let's have an activity. Are you excited? Yes? No? You have no choice. Now, here in our activity, you were grouped earlier, right? Yes, okay. Now each group will be given a selected Philippine poem handout, and for 4 minutes, you will read the poem carefully. You need to read everyone, okay? Identify which factor or influence the text the most: culture, history ba, environment, or heritage or natural heritage. And for the next instruction, you need to at least find 3 clues in the poem, like a word, phrase, or imagery that shows this influence. And for the last one is you need to write a short summary of your answer. After 4 minutes of group discussion, Each group will share the answer with the class and they will choose 1 to 2 representatives only and 1 minute per group per presentation. Now, are you ready to receive your handouts? Yes. Okay. Here are your handouts. Picture it, okay? Because we are going now in a paperless. Yes. For group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and 5. Okay, very good. Now, is everyone done? Okay, now time for our presentation. Very good. Wow, that is a very good presentation, everyone. I hope that you learned. Now, for our next activity is let's have a quiz. Now, for our quiz, you will be given 5-item quiz handout. And encircle your answer and choose the answer correctly. You will be only given 3 minutes to answer, and after the allotted time, finished or not finished, you will pass your papers. Is my instructions clear and concise? Yes? Thank you so much. Now, for the quiz, I will give you here. Here is the quiz. Now, is it clear? Okay. 3 minutes is up. Pass your papers in front. Yes, thank you so much for that. For our next activity, in order for me to really identify if you understood our topic for today, you will make a poem. So you need to create an original short poem that shows how culture, history, environment, or heritage influences our daily life or surroundings. You need to brainstorm 2 minutes. For 2 minutes, talk about your ideas from your daily life connected to your assigned poem. Write a poem, make a 4 to 6 line original poem showing the connection. You can use literary devices such as imagery, metaphor, and everything. Now share your poem. Read your poem to your class, and you can add gestures or act it out to make it fun. Here is the rubrics. Okay. Time is up, class. Thank you so much for participating. Now for the next activity, last one is you need to analyze a poem. So, you need to read it carefully, think about the factor that influence it, whether it is culture, history, or environment. You need to write a short paragraph of 4 to 5 sentences that identifies the factor, provide at least one example, okay, of the clue from the poem, and explain how this factor shapes the meaning of the message. Here is the rubric. And here is the poem that you will use. Wait a minute. Okay, here is the poem, which it is entitled Omayon by Ray Binipayo. Okay, time is up. Pass your papers in front. Very good, everyone. Now, for your assignment, I have here, you will work in the same group earlier, and then you will be assigned a factor, and each group will select a Philippine poem that matches their assigned factor. Prepare a short oral performance showcasing the poem. Performance can include reading aloud, dramatization, gestures, or creative expression. Focus on showing the essence of the factor like history, culture, natural heritage, and performances will be presented in our next session in order for you to prepare, okay? For the rubric, here it is. So here is your assigned factor. Group 1 is culture, 2 is history, 3 is environment, 4 is heritage or natural heritage, and 5 is you have a free of choice of any factor. Here is the rubric. I will give you the rubric in the performance, in the day of the performance. So, are we clear, everyone? Okay, very good. That is it for our session for today. Do you have any questions, violent reactions, anything? Nothing? Very good. Now, for my closing part, that is it for me. I am your teacher for today, signing out.